know, I get high schoolers to do it, that keeps money in their pocket.
Yeah. My high schooler moved on.
Yeah,
He's now,
your free labor moved
yeah,
on.
he's now a colleger.
Well, he's looking to get that $100, maybe he'll come back and mow it every once in a while.
Barely mowed when he was here.
All right, we are live
Ready?
and streaming.
All right, we will start the park board work session, Tuesday, August 25th, and it's 6:01. Director?
Thanks, sir. 6:01. Call to order. I will announce that as of right now, member Howdy Shell, member Bartow, member Supple, and member Collier are absent. All other members are present. First things first, I'd like to introduce, we have a new staff member with us. We have filled the superintendent position, recreation facility superintendent, which was Mr. McLean's position. This is Jimmy Gibbs. I'll ask everybody to take the mask off for just a second so they can see faces, so you recognize him. So that is Jimmy. He is on second week with us. He started, let's see, August 17th. Here comes Josh, I think. Jimmy comes with the past couple of years. He was with Midwest Pool Management on the private sector, doing contract work with those guys, managing pools and aquatic centers. So pretty good knowledge base for spring grounds, which is going to come in really handy. And then prior to that, you did 16 years with Lawrence Parks and Rec.
Yep. 5 with Salina before that.
Yep. So a lot of experience in Parks and Rec. It's been a good first couple of weeks. It's a good fit, and he fits right in, and gonna have good future. So you guys will be seeing a lot of him. He'll be required to be at the meetings and stuff. Hey, Josh. Hey. So you'll see him moving forward. He will take the place where recently I've kind of managed the coordinators, and Jimmy stepped into there. So Todd and Corinne and those guys are going to answer directly to him. So once we get out to the park, you guys will be able to have a little more time to talk to him and not be so formal here if you want to do that. Let's see. One more update before I pass it on. Last night we took the Johnston Lake Fountain and the art piece that Ms. Harmer is going to talk about here in a minute to the city council. Remember the last meeting we passed that. It was unanimous with the council. So in 3 weeks, on September 14th, it goes back for second read, and then we'll get moving with that project. So that was all moving forward, which is why we didn't have any business tonight, because we moved it forward. I felt like tonight was a good night for a walkthrough over at the park. So
I got a question. Will that fountain run year round?
yes,
Okay.
it'll be a nice one. You guys will like it.
I didn't know if we'd turn it off for winter or not.
We typically do turn it off, especially when it gets icy. You know, Rec Park does, because they just don't circulate and they freeze up. So if we turn it off, it'll be just because it's frozen. We don't want to burn the pump out, but it can function colder or warm water.
Okay.
Anything else about that stuff? All right, I'm going to hand it over to Melissa here, our communications manager, to go over some stuff. And then after she's done, you guys have asked any questions you have. We got a couple more things, just housekeeping stuff, and then we'll kind of adjourn and head over to TB Hanna. The city council was invited to join us tonight. And so the plan is to be about 6:40 is when I really start kind of the tour. You know, everybody's just gonna start gathering, but I'll do more of a guided tour, walking you through all the aspects of the park. So if you have any questions, you can ask them. Well, you got our attention there. So that is it. You are up.
Great, thanks. And I do not have a 30-minute presentation, so you have plenty of time to get over there. So thanks for having me. I have a part of the final concept in front of you from the artist that the Raymore Arts Commission chose to create the sculpture at Hawkridge Park. Her name is Leslie Tharp. She's based in Gainesville, Florida. She creates large public art pieces. She does custom commission work. And she also teaches hands-on workshops in her own workshop, which is pretty cool. So when the Arts Commission put this call out I think we put it out right before everything shut down. So our selection process took a little bit longer, but our Public Art Committee members were super happy with Leslie's proposal. And on the August 11th Arts Commission meeting, the rest of the commission unanimously approved this concept. In her research, the artist, she spoke with a couple people from the Missouri Conservation Department about native local insect and mammal species and that rely on the native prairies in our area. So really it's a cool, if you read her statement in that packet I gave you, it's just really cool, deeper meaning, I guess, to this piece. The piece is going to be about 8 feet tall. That's from the base, and the base, I'm not 100% sure how tall the base, 6 inches to a foot, maybe. It'll be 8 feet wide. There will be attention to the texture. She'll do forged details on the bars of steel that create these roots. So the overall shape is like 3-dimensional. And the really cool part, I think, is that in the little intricate designs in the root pieces, there will be patterns of local little pollinator species and little critters that will take a little bit of extra effort to see, but it'll be really cool. And then she's using weather-stable steel called Corten, which will age and color over time, but it will not rust in a way that requires any sealant or paint. It'll handle all the weather, sun, and if it's spray painted, if it is vandalized, we can just power wash the paint away. So she said it's just a really fun material that provides the best maintenance options available outside of stainless, which is quite a bit more expensive. As you already know, that the communications department is paying for the lighting because we felt that it was 100% important. It was vital to have lighting for this piece at night. And of course, you can see on the image on the front, the general location of the piece will be to the east of the amphitheater at the front. So that's really all I have. I know there's a little bit of reading in there, sorry. But I think it's going to be really great, and we'll move this on to the city council at our September 14th meeting for the first reading for approval.
What about the cost and the funding?
Sure. So the budget for this project was $15,000. That's not counting the electric that's extra.
Does that include the platform?
Yes. Yes. So 5,000 is from the Arts Commission. The other 10,000 was a donation from the now defunct Park Foundation for the sculpture at the park. And really, I guess that's kind of it. Unless there was something I missed.
On the Park Foundation, after John Seamers moved away, which is no longer in town, there were 3 remaining members, myself, Sheldon, and Monique. It was very difficult to get this to Sheldon and Monique during this time. Finally got Sheldon, and so he has looked at it, he's approved it, 100% behind it, loves it. Monique, we have not gotten this to her. I haven't been able to get in contact with her, so I will get that to her. I'm the last remaining member, which I don't have the option to have an opinion because it's, conflict of interest. But what I say that to mean that the foundation is comfortable in moving forward with this. Knowing Monique, I don't want to speak for her, I will say, I think most of you that know Monique, she's not gonna have any issues with this whatsoever. But we will provide it to her. We're kind of waiting on Melissa to get the packet ready for tonight, and we'll send it on over to her and make sure they're comfortable with it. But they were okay with the location instead of being out front. They were okay with this because we had selected in the park board this was one of the locations that the park board had talked about doing something. And, in terms of the sculpture and park foundation, all they asked is that it be nature relevant, you know, something associated with Hawk Ridge Park, and I think it's hard to get much more relevant than, you know, roots of our community and native species, so.
And also, if you do go to, her website, I think it's just, leslietharp.com, you can see a lot of her other pieces, and she does excellent work, like, all across the board. I first saw one of her pieces in, Liberty, at like a rotating art, exhibit. So she has had art in this area, in this general area before, but she's had art kind of all over the country, so. Her work is really top notch.
Will the lights change colors?
I think that's a possibility, but I
I
don't
mean, I
know
assume
that.
with LED lights these days, it's easy to get a controller to just rotate
I don't
lights.
know that we've selected the actual lighting
And
fixtures as much
right,
as
because
we
that's-
just paid for the electric.
Sure, and that's kind of like on her end, but I'm
Okay.
sure if we had that asked if that was possible, we'd totally.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Cause the tree does,
Yeah,
it rotates colors, and
Yeah.
so does the
Yeah.
seed pod
Yeah.
out front as well.
and the reason that we had to take on the extra cost for the electric, we really did put out like, think about, we didn't have the spots 100% selected. I rode around with Steve and Nathan, at the park, so we had a couple options. But we just felt this was the best place, and, the artist was worried about like with solar, just the maintenance. She doesn't live here. She was worried about how long that might last. So, but I mean, I'm happy to take on the electric.
We're running electric from what?
From the, bridge, from the lights on the bridge.
Okay. The location there, is that the one that's finished, we determined that's where we wanted it at?
Huh?
I think it should be moved though.
You think it should be moved?
Yes. Should be moved closer to the amphitheater itself. The reason is, it's gonna attract people. They're gonna come up there, look at it, and try to find the critters that she's emphasized. So that's gonna create a small area. If it's too close to the pathways, that'll create a small jam.
So there is at least 7 feet of grass all the way around it. And so this isn't 100%.
Yeah, that's not
And
the
the,
scale.
and
That's
the
not the
reason,
scale?
yeah, and the reason
It's not the scale.
the reason we did choose that spot is because we don't want it to be too close to the amphitheater for the
Then you have
access.
people.
Right.
And then there's a
Yes.
swale or drain
oh,
or
I
something
If
also.
you look in
So
there,
it's clearing that area.
the initial plan is with some of these improvements, we're gonna put an access drive up to, because right now the amphitheater does not have an asphalt path up to the stage, and so that's where it's gonna come in at. So we're gonna isolate that sculpture really, and it be its own location area. In terms of where centralized in there, we haven't selected that yet, but there is also a French drain that comes down through there, so we have to avoid that as well.
Well, when I say move toward, I didn't say move it up to it, but I'm saying move toward it where you would develop more of a greenbelt area around it. Because that would not be, I'm still looking at traffic. You know, the pathways need to be somewhat clear, and if people wanna congregate around it, look at it, and admire it, that's fine.
Okay.
I also like the idea of that, we'll have to get into security later.
The security, their cameras
Camera
are
system.
scheduled to be placed on the amphitheater this year.
That's what I was hoping, because we need to cover the artworks need to be covered specifically with the investment in them. And even though, like you said, vandalism, painting it, I'm more worried about someone doing structural damage as opposed to just vandalizing it with paint.
Does she guarantee if anything would go wrong?
Go wrong with
With the
vandalism?
structure?
Or-
No, not
oh,
vandalism.
Oh, we haven't.
They typically
I mean-
do, but
Well, there's
what-
insurance and stuff.
if the structure itself fails in terms of what she constructs and then it breaks or fails, yeah, there's a warranty, usually a warranty
Yeah.
written in the contract where she has to, if she doesn't fix it herself because she's out of town, she has to bring somebody in to repair it, you know.
And that is in the contract. I just don't have, I don't have a copy.
Right. I think that's what you're asking, correct?
Right, exactly, thank you.
If what she creates fails. That's on her. If where we put it and that provides a problem, that's on us. That's part of the risk we take on for,
So I can't really
Basically
see the
owning it.
design, but is this thing freestanding on a concrete base? You know, the roots just freestanding, or does she put, like, does she fabricate some kind of
like a middle
steel
post.
peg to go into the
Part of-
bottom of it, you know what I'm saying?
Part of, yeah, there are gonna be some larger portions of the roots that are like,
That
Yeah.
embed into the
Yeah.
concrete, okay,
That page right there,
yeah,
that you're looking at. I would say those larger roots down there are what's welded down.
we'll just,
Or
or
the plate
be buried
screwed
into
into
the
the
concrete, yeah, she'll form the base around it, okay.
I would assume, I don't wanna speak for her, I would
Yeah.
assume that it's welded onto a disc or a plate and that's bolted into the concrete, so. But I don't know how she does that.
I mean, it'd be pretty heavy. Anyway, I would think, I guess, I don't know how thick this steel is. She gotta form it, so I guess it can't be too big, right?
It's gotta be
Heats it
stable.
and bends it. Yeah. It'd be interesting, this looks good. Kind of excited. I like this, by the way, I like the placement. I don't think we're gonna get big crowds of hundreds of people standing around this thing.
I think if you do go out there, it maybe isn't as quite as far away from the amphitheater as it looks on here. So just, if you go see the area in person,
Yes,
and see the spot before it kind of like dips down for that drain.
When you mentioned that, you had not discussed the lights yet, and you were talking about some options, how much will that affect the $15,000, or will it?
No, it won't. That's on her. That's on her. And with the LED lights, I'm sure that can't be that big of a difference between color, white. So,
Isn't the fountain color changeable?
Yes.
yeah, colors everywhere.
Just contrast
Awesome.
colors everywhere.
I mean, that attracts everybody's attention. All of a sudden, they're watching something and it goes blue, and then, oh, wait, it's yellow. Wait, what's happening? Yeah, I like this. This looks good, too.
How long have you guys been working on this?
well, she just got her, she gave us an initial design, back in June. She actually gave the commission or the public art committee 2 options that she was thinking about, and then when they went with the roots option, she actually, got this to us, just maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And I brought it straight to our next arts commission meeting as soon as the public art committee had okayed the design. But she's been working since like March. Or May when we selected.
Is there gonna be any kind of a placard?
Yes.
Okay.
We haven't been great about the plaques, like the other pieces, but I'm making that a priority. There will be a plaque with a short artist statement, and maybe, recognizing where the donation came from.
No, the
Where's
only
that
thing
gonna
I,
be placed?
Whatever looks good down there, once it's all up, I think that's probably, when we have an idea of what it looks like,
On the plaque, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm wondering, so it doesn't distract from the artwork.
I think we'll just have to see it and also take recommendation from the artist too.
okay, maybe this isn't scale, these are just examples, but she's got the butterflies up here at the top, right? If that's the actual location, ain't nobody gonna see that if this thing's 8 feet tall and your base is 6 to 12 inches tall. Ain't nobody gonna look up 9 feet to find this.
Maybe you see it from that angle.
It could
It's
be shadow,
underneath?
it could
No,
be
like
shadow
maybe see it from
play.
the.
Are they not, well, I guess I don't really know what they are. Are they gonna be holes cut
So
into it?
it's, so just the way that the
I
metal
thought
is
she was
like
gonna like
formed,
etch
you
it,
can
yeah.
see like the outlines of certain insects and
Oh, I
things, like
thought
the
it
way
was-
that the roots like bend.
I thought she was gonna kind of like fossilize it into the steel type
I
thing.
think
I
so.
don't think so, I think
I mean, I don't
it's
know
with
what
the-
she's really doing, but that's kind of what I envisioned,
It's
but,
more of the pattern
Okay.
of the pieces.
okay.
Outlines.
Out,
You can email her.
I'm gonna email her. Leslie. It's Brian, I'm from Missouri, but got a question for
Don't
you.
ruin it for us.
Got an idea.
Don't ruin it.
Already got an idea.
Yeah, I got ideas. She emailed back, tell them their concept is changing.
note to self, black out the artist contact information on
Yeah.
next, so.
Contact immediately,
Can you, bring it on,
Yeah.
I'll take the packets back
Yes.
now.
block this email. It's spam, trust me. Well, it's good, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions?
Yep, we hope to, this will be installed over the winter and
Yeah,
and
I'm hopeful.
ready to go as phase two gets started and all of those things. So this will be right there in the midst of it. And then once we get phase two projects done, we'll start our big sign program and our entrances and all that. But Hawk Ridge is coming right along.
So
Any
good
other
out
questions for Melissa? All right,
Looks great. I like the symbolism behind it.
do you want these back or can
You can keep them.
okay?
Hey, I got some questions about Hawk Ridge Park.
Okay.
Is it time for that, or do you got a couple things? that you-
I
you
got a
talk about
couple
your
things and then we'll adjourn and then, do you
Nice.
want him on the record or do you not want him on the record?
It's not that important.
Okay. So, tonight for the tour, when we get out there, we're pretty much going to meet around the TV Hannah, or the depot. And my intent is just to do a walkthrough of the park, because so many of you have never been there, or you've been by it, you don't know what, or you weren't here during the process of it. And so I wanted to really give like a tour of this, what is happening, where we started, where we're at now, what's left, and what's coming in 3 years when we go back to phase two. Because if you guys remember the CIP, I think it's 3 years from now, we have the next round of projects, so I wanna go through all that. We invited the council because, for obvious reasons, they're the city council, but this seemed like the only opportunity to get both groups together to do this tour before things really start finalizing and clicking, and then the fence is gone and then the public's out. I will say right now, we don't anticipate a large grand opening this fall.
No.
We would rather wait until next year when we've got a fall season for grass and a spring season for grass, so the park really looks at its best. And then we do a big grand opening for a full season of spray ground. The playground can be played on, and it's already open now, so that's our intent. We're just gonna slowly open pieces up, let people play on them, let people use them, move forward with the mayor's tree lighting, the ice rink, all of those things, and then really throw a big party next spring, if everyone's comfortable with that. I think that's gonna maximize the use of the park, and
Will the spray ground be open for use this fall?
that is the intent,
Okay.
but I can't promise you when, and that's one thing we'll talk about when we're out there,
Okay.
but, it's always been our goal to get it open as soon as we can. There's just always challenges that occur.
Okay.
That's really it. That's the big project going on now. We meet on, just as an update, I like to give you guys an update on all the projects whenever we can get together. We have several projects moving forward, obviously. Memorial Park lighting, that was one that we passed way early in the spring, that COVID has really just stalled production. The lights are now on the property. Brenton Electric will be starting early next week, removing the old ones. So there'll be a day or two where the lights are down, the power's shut off, so it'll just be dark. If anybody calls you or says, why are the lights not on? It's because we're replacing them. They just, it takes longer than an 8-hour workday to get them all in. So there'll be an overnight where it's shut down, but by the end of next week, all the lights on the trail at Memorial Park should be brand new and replaced, which looking forward to that. Johnson Lake, obviously is second read coming up. And Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning, me, Jimmy, Steve are meeting with city engineer, department, Crass, and Lori and Phil. And we're basically mapping out our workload, because we're gonna be doing a lot of these bond projects along with our CIP projects in-house. And so with the engineering's guidance and their, help with bidding out the proposals and stuff, and then just phasing out workload so we're not swamped and things are falling. So tomorrow we're really laying out more of a 3 to 5 year plan of how we're going to make them. We already know which projects are coming first, now we gotta figure out how to schedule the workload, that's what tomorrow is. So hopefully at the next meeting, I got a better idea telling you when, when we're putting out bids, which things are going to have consulting firms or which ones we're just doing in-house and keeping rolling, but just kind of wrapping up this last bond project, and now it feels like it's really just getting swamped and busy all over again. No breathing room.
Every 3 years, let's keep doing this, every 3 years, just keep you busy.
4, let's not rush it.
What,
Every 4 years.
really?
The last one was 2016, it's 2020.
Maybe we do it every 2 years.
Yeah.
We are getting bigger. Yeah.
So, that is really the big stuff, in terms of programming, everything, just an update. Todd is working really hard. We are still moving forward with, fall sports. Until something occurs to where we have to shut it down. Our goal is to provide programming and sports and activities, and that's what we're doing within the guidelines of what we can do. So practices have already started. Coaches meetings for soccer and volleyball are next week, or this week, and practices start next week. So we're going full out, and the rack is rented throughout the week to private volleyball clubs before games and leagues start. So
Good.
we're doing as
Good to
best we can, given the circumstances we got. And program guide gets submitted to printer next week, and should be in the mail first week of September. For
Right after Labor Day, it should be in the mail.
So I got a question, when they rent out the rack, do they have to mask up when they're playing?
Depends on private events. We have our recommendations, but they're private events, they still have to social distance, but depending on how they function in terms of the sports, we really let it up to them. When it's our programs, parents, spectators have to wear them the entire time, kids don't while they're in play.
Okay.
And then we spread out the player benches, the dugouts, things like that, we spread that out. Outside sports a little different than the rack though. The rack, we have to have them there.
Yep, okay.
The school district is allowing us in the gyms, but we are not allowed to have parents during practices. You literally have to drop your kids off, they go in with the coaches and stuff, so that's what we're faced with, and some parents like it, some don't. My own wife is not a big fan of it, I can tell you that.
Yeah, unless you know the coach, that'd be weird.
Yeah,
We will have our staff
but
there
yes.
as well, so it's not just random.
Well, yeah.
But
still-
even that.
still is.
Still, your kid gets hurt, and all of a sudden you see a coach wanting your kid out, what happened?
Any other things before we adjourn and move forward? Your Hawk Ridge Park, you wanna do that now?
We'll
or
talk
later?
about that.
Okay, well, I'll catch
It's
you
not,
later.
it's not a big deal.
All right, sir, let's adjourn. I'll go shut the cameras off, and we'll head out and meet at the depot.
Okay, 6:29.
Yep.
PRC. This is, they're all individually wrapped. You'll know this,